Welcome back for part 2 of the bench build. So now that we have this all flipped over, we're gonna attach our padded top. Okay, so that just goes in between these two. It'll nestle nicely, might have to wiggle because right now the whole bench is a little bit twisted, most likely. This will help shore up the entire thing. Okay, so now we're going to take 2 more of these carriage bolts and we're going to go in through the side of the bench here. You'll be able to see the holes line up with these little guys back here. And that'll be the securement method right there. Okay. See, I'm twisting this one to kind of find its home. And once you feel it, you'll know. Okay, and this is where sometimes I like to have a rubber mallet if you're using a black or nickel finish, or you can just use a regular hammer if you're using the standard ones, just because they won't mess it up at all. Kind of tap that into place and that'll force its way through the hole on the inside. Again, we're not doing the squares on the heads yet. I'm going to wait until we shore everything together to get those into place. So we'll do the same thing on the back side. Okay, and we can go ahead, same thing, washer and a nut on each one of those. Finger tight for now, but we will be tightening everything after this step. So now's the time where you want to put it into its home, where it's going to be used, and you can kind of, if there's a wobble to it, you kind of wiggle it back and forth, and that'll kind of shift the whole thing into place. I'm putting this together on my flat level table, so it's got no wobble to it. So now we can go ahead and start tightening all of our nuts. Okay, so you want to keep your finger on the front part. And as you turn the bolt, it'll depress that little square on the back of the carriage bolt head in. If you'd prefer, this is my normal go-to method just to ensure, is just give it a tap to get it started into its home, and that way it doesn't free spin. You want to tighten it until the flat back of the bolt head is just touching. the wood itself. You can give it an extra quarter turn if you want it to be a little bit more secure. But with the two of these together, it does a pretty good job of keeping everything together. So that's what that should look like, if that's going to focus for me. Just flat and in place. So you'll repeat that process for the other 3 legs, and then you'll repeat that process for the 4 bolts that are in the headstock and the little trapezoid here. So that's the majority of the bench right there. The only thing that's left is going to be our arm and leg supports and the brackets that are accompanied with them. So these guys here are going to attach to these inside threaded inserts along the leg here. Adjustable, so you can have them here, 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 here. Important to note that the unfinished side will be what contacts the top pad, and the pocket holes, which is how the whole thing is connected, stay to the inside so you don't see them. There are a left and a right, but it doesn't matter which side they go on, they're all exactly the same. So we're going to go back to our button head bolts now that are 3/8 by 1 3/4. We're going to line those up, kind of find the hole there, finger tighten just till you hit a thread, and then you should just be able to flush up the back side, and that'll give you your location of your second bolt. There, those are both in. So we're going to go ahead and give those a tighten. Same thing, you want them to be tight, but not over tight. That one didn't want to get started. There it goes. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So now that our 2 brackets are installed, we're going to take one of our armrest pads, we're going to lay it up top there. You want it to stand off a little bit off of the front of the legs behind it, just so that if you move it up and down, it's not rubbing and destroying the finish in any way. If you have a model with the furniture nails along the side, you want to make sure those are facing out. I don't put them on the insides of the leg pads because that way they don't damage the legs themselves. So once that's in place, You're going to want to either eyeball it up with the top pad. They're exactly the same length. So you can eyeball it, or you can measure it. So the inside of this leg and the inside of this leg will be exactly the same distance apart. So if you go from the leg to the outside of the pad, this one I got 7. This one I've got 7 1/16. So you can shift it over just a hair. You can leave it as is. It really doesn't make that much of a difference over a 1/16 of an inch. 7, 7. Okay, so this part you may want somebody to help you with, just for pressure. If someone puts an arm or a leg on this piece here, because this pocket screw is going to go up and try and force the pad up. I'll take you with me for this one. So these pocket holes right here, they're on an angle. So you just put this inside the hole. You kind of wiggle it until you can feel the hole, keeping pressure on the pad itself. Now those are very easy to strip, so you want to make sure you get a couple of impacts out of it and then let it go. You can always tighten it, you can't fix a stripped hole. We'll do that to the other one. Make sure it has some good bite to it. And there it is. Repeat the same process for the other side, and your bench is complete. Thanks for watching, and thanks for letting me build you your bench.